Hello, welcome to Go Beyond Betty. Today we're going to make one of my favorite lighter versions of scalloped potatoes. Easter's coming. I love scalloped potatoes. Doesn't have to be Easter, I could love them anytime. But this is a little bit lighter and dairy-free option that is equally as delicious. So it's kind of like a similarly layered, but really precisely layered dish. And then instead of the dairy and butter in between the layers, we're going to use a bunch of fresh herbs. So I had a bunch of herbs to use, and now I just kind of need to go through them. You know, basil doesn't last very long, so any of the blacker kind of ones, we're going to kick those out and we're going to de-stem everything. I do have a bunch of sage. Sage does last for a long time, but you see they're getting a little weak. So take all the good herbs and chop them up. And then for the potatoes, we need to get these nice and thin. I'm going to put them through my food processor because it's really fast and easy. But if you don't have one of those, I want to show you something. This is a microplane, so most people just know the version where you have zest and things. But this is kind of like a mandolin, but a lot smaller and more compact. This is the guard that you would use, and there are 4 different settings on the side. So it's a lot easier and easier to store because you know it's one of those things you don't use them that often. So dealer's choice. I'll meet you back here in a minute after I de-stem and chop and get these ready, and then I'll show you how we layer this dish. All right, we have our herbs chopped up, and I use kind of neutral herbs. So I think I have Parmesan, oh lordy. I have parsley, sage, thyme, basil, and oregano. So those all kind of go together. Now I wouldn't put cilantro in this. Cilantro to me just stands out too much. And I wouldn't put mint in it. That's just a different flavor. So keep the herbs neutral, and then we have our sliced potatoes. The only thing you're gonna need is some kind of fat of your choice. You could even use bacon grease, doesn't really matter. I'm gonna use a little bit of this hot harissa oil and probably alternate it with another olive oil or avocado oil, and then just salt and pepper. So come on over, let's get started. Our first layer, I'm using the Smithey, so a really good cast iron. I would not use a non-stick skillet because you want to get pretty high heat. So anything, and once it comes up to kind of a smoke point, get your oil in there. And then we need our first layer of potatoes. So get all the ones that are definitely a full slice and make your first layer. It doesn't have to be perfect, but we want them pretty uniform. Another reason why I like this dish is that with scalloped potatoes, it's really hard to adjust the seasoning because you really don't know if you have enough salt. Whereas this, since we're only doing 1 layer at a time, we can season as we go and guarantee that everything is going to be seasoned. So I'm just putting in a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper, a little bit of herbs. Whoa, a lot of bit of herbs. Okay, next round, a little bit more olive oil. I didn't have a good spurt. I'm going to turn it down just a little bit. Another round. I like to pretend I'm at the casino. I'm doing blackjack. But then I'm glad I don't have to deal blackjack because I'm not really that fast with math. I'd get fired my first night. Okay. Similar to lasagna or any layered dish, just keep doing it until it's to the top. We're at our last layer. Turning the heat off. I've had it on pretty low the whole time because I don't want the bottom to burn. I've got the oven at 400. Last layer, try to make it as beautiful as you can. Try to pick potatoes that are pretty evenly sized. A nice little sprinkle of salt. We don't need a ton because I've used it on every layer. Sprinkle of pepper. My dad were here. He'd say more. That should do. And then even though they might get a bit browned and not as attractive, you can sprinkle the top with some. If you want, save just a little bit at the end or a couple sprigs of parsley. You can kind of decorate it at the end. But really, if you're using a nice pan like the Smithey, you can just serve it in this. But last little drizzle of, olive oil. Oh, Jiminy Christmas. I wanted to put my finger on it, but then I feel like it's not sanitary. Good enough. All right, in she goes. That's really heavy. In she goes. 400 degrees. There you have it. Look at this gorgeous masterpiece. I love this dish. It is so fancy, yet it really doesn't take that much time. If you can deal cards, you can do this dish. And I really like how it's a lot more evenly seasoned than kind of guessing with scalloped potatoes, because you don't really know how that saltiness level is, and then when it's cooked, it's already too late. So this, you do it as you go, layer it up, and it is gorgeous. Oh, I love it. That's it. So I hope you have a wonderful Easter, and thank you for watching at Go Beyond Betty, where you are taking lists in the kitchen. We'll see you again next time. Bye.